Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Yvonne and you are on Ginger Chick Rehab, where I love to share the many ideas with you of not only flipping secondhand pieces and making beautiful home decor, but also share some craft and DIYs. And today's video is no different. And I'm sure you're all like, how the heck did you make those mushrooms glow? And it actually is not as hard as one would think. But the only problem with it is it was becoming a fast obsession with me that I'm like, oh, I want to make more, I want to make more. So if this spikes your interest, stay tuned and I will share the how-tos of making these mushrooms glow. In a recent auction haul, I actually had gotten this box of wooden knobbies. I'm going to call them knobbies. Knobbies off of a tree, driftwood pieces, absolutely gorgeous architectural pieces, but then what do you do with them? So little did I know the mushroom craze of the IOD molds would lead me into loving mushrooms. And I actually had some of these fairy lights that are battery operated. I use them in my hutches to make them glow during the winter season. Absolutely love them. Battery operated, y'all, and they can be set on a timer. So they're very, very workable. But you do have to be a little bit careful. You don't want to completely bend the wire and snap it. So this was something inspired from a TikTok that I had saw months and months ago that I had saved. And I'm like, oh, I got to go back after getting these pieces of wood and figure out how to make them. So long story short is all I figured out is you just overlap the wire. And I'm kind of keeping two of the lights per mushroom, kind of one in the bottom to the middle and then one on the top. So yeah, basically that's all I'm doing. I am just folding the wire on top of itself, and then I'm going to twist the two strands together to keep it together. So I made a few just to show you how they were put together. And now actually I'm going to go ahead and start hot gluing on to my piece of wood. So this has a little on off switch. There's actually 4 screws that hold a battery in, and I'm deciding where I can put this. And actually for this one, the battery pack is thin enough, the on and off is thin enough. I can just put a generous amount of hot glue on the one side that does not have the batteries, because you will need to change them eventually, and glue it on. And now I'm going to go ahead and start gluing my strand down. Now I don't have to glue the whole strand down, just the individual strands that I twisted together to make the stem of the mushroom. So I quickly decided that I wanted to make the stems as I went. That way I could space out my mushrooms along the piece of wood the way that I wanted to. I was afraid if I made them all, I wasn't going to be able to stretch and pull and make different sizes of mushrooms as I went along. And actually, this fairy light metal is very easy to work with. I just kind of wrapped it around the bumps and the little crevices of this piece of wood, kind of directing the way that it would hold on the best. Now what I'm doing is I'm not trying to build up any glue. All I'm doing is gluing the individual bottoms down. So I have a Ryobi heat gun that likes to run really hot. So when I use this gun, it's an on-off. So once it's gotten to temperature, I turn it off, and I can tell when I need to turn it back on. It stays a nice temperature if I do it that way. So I want it to be about a medium temperature so that the glue doesn't run and that it cools off in time to go ahead and just glue the bottom piece down. And then also glue whatever starts pulling up on the wire. I don't have to glue the entire wire down at this point because I'm going to be covering up that wire. So I ended up twisting and gluing, just following the direction of the piece of the wood, variegated the heights of what the stems were going to be. Now I need to glue the bottom of my stems. So this is where I need my my glue to be that same medium heat, not really runny that it's causing drips. So what I'm doing is I'm just running the glue to attach it to the wire, and what I'm going to do is go over every single one of them and then go over again doing multiples, letting the glue layer on top of each other. And maybe your glue gun, you could do it just in one time, but this was my first attempt doing it, so I wanted to make sure that I didn't get too much on. It does not have to be perfect, y'all. That is the amazing thing. You may think, oh my gosh, this looks terrible, but just keep doing it, just keep working with it, because trust me, it is going to look amazing. So after I build up the front side, then I'm going to go ahead and twist it and do the back side. You just want to make sure that the bulb is covered, the wire is completely covered by glue, and I actually kept my lights on only because I have had fairy lights in the past where when I twisted it, or I had a watering can that I had them look like it was flowing out, that the wire snapped and they stopped working. So I chose to keep my lights on in case this set decided not to work anymore as I was working with it. Once you glue it in place, I don't think you have any worry of that. And I bought, I think it was a 12 pack of off of Amazon, and they're very, very reasonably priced. So now I need to make my mushroom top. So this is where I'm going to have my glue gun hot, hot, hot because I don't want to have that little spot where it pulls away. I don't want my mushrooms to have a tip. So I'm actually using a metal, this is something we put our hardware on. It actually has magnets on it because earlier in one of the posts that I saw somebody do, they put it on wax paper. Well, when I went to removed my top after it had cooled, the wax paper, y'all, didn't come off. So I'm like, nix that idea. So I had to find a surface that I knew that I could scrape off my top. So I made different sizes of top because mushrooms all don't grow the same. So after they had cooled, as you see, they start to turn cloudy. Even though it's a clear glue, it turns cloudy. So I knew that they were cool enough that I could start removing them. So I ended up having to use a metal scraping tool to get them off. And probably if I waited even a little bit longer, I could have got them off a little bit better. But I was impatient and I wanted to see what they were going to look like. I know, it still does not look like too awful much, does it? But now I'm just taking my mushroom heads, putting a little dab of glue, and then just sticking it on the top. Nope, it does not have to be level on the top. It can be off to the side, however it chooses to glue on. I wasn't going to control this by any means. Oh, these little mushrooms just make me happy, happy, happy. Oh my gosh. Not like crafting is just a great release, and some projects make you more happy than others, and this is one of them. And now I need to cover up that wire. So we're going to be using some of this moss. Yeah, Dollar Tree, Walmart, Hobby Lobby. I think I thrifted my bag. So all I'm going to do is put some hot glue on the log part, the wood part, and then just push down a piece of the moss. It's amazing how far a bag of this will go. So I'm just breaking it up to pieces, trying to get a nice clump so when I glue it down, I can press it in. Now it is fun. I always like to create multiple ideas if I can. And so one of my inspirations they actually did on a grapevine wreath. And we all know you can purchase these a lot of different places if you don't find them in a thrift store. And I think this will be very easy to add a battery operated light. So yet again, I got to make sure that I glue down the side that doesn't have the screws for the battery. And now I'm just going to inspect my wreath. I'm going to figure out where I would like to one glue it and where actually I want to put the mushrooms. So it's the exact same process. I'm just going to start bending my wire back and forth on top of each other to the end wire is going in the down position, so I have that space to glue, and then I'll go ahead and start twisting it. Like I said, I like the way that I made them glow. They look like the whole mushroom itself glowed by putting one of the lights at the top and one of the lights at the bottom area. You can choose to do just one of the lights and not double it up like I'm doing. Oh my gosh, there's just so many options. So as I work with this, I'm going to go ahead and I didn't pre-twist any of these. I'm going to glue them down and twist them as I go. And I'm only going to be working in about 1/4 of the space. This is just the way that you would hang a wreath or you'd set a wreath on an object. There's usually, I mean, you could do it along the whole bottom if you wanted to. You could do around the whole thing on the top. You could do whatever you wanted, but I'm just choosing just to do 1/4 of it. And just like before, after I get everything twisted and glued in place, I'm going to go along with my hot glue gun and build up that stem, trying to cover it completely with hot glue because there's just something about that hot glue and that light that just makes it look like it is neon and it's glowing. Sometimes it's just fun to watch and not have to listen to my voice, y'all, since it was the same process. But now for the grapevine wreath, I remembered that I had these tiny pine cones. I believe I thrifted this bag, but I believe Dollar Store had them, Hobby Lobby around the Christmas season, and I thought this would be the perfect addition to break up some of that green on here. Oh my goodness, my heart is just loving this even more. And then my thought was, man, I really wish I had a lightning bug. Wouldn't a lightning bug just set this all off? Even though I don't have a lightning bug, I do have a ladybug. And if I don't paint it more red, I think it will be perfect. I just thought, oh my gosh, let's make a few of these air dry clay little ladybugs to put on here. So I ended up making 3 of these little ladybugs with the air dry clay, kind of just let the empty space tell me where to put them. And now I'm just going to be using Fusions. Apparently have been saying that wrong. I don't need to say color, just Fusions. Fusions paint in the Cashmere color to paint these. I just want them to be muted. I love the accent of that little bit different of a color. I don't have any glowy paint, but I thought, and I know that ladybugs are black, but I wanted them to stand out. Did not let my molds dry. They are still wet clay. I'm painting right on top of that. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some of the antiquing glaze right on the top. That's just going to make them so they look a little bit aged, not so pristine that they're just paint. Just a little dab will do it, just to kind of, the ladybugs have such great detail. There's little bumps on there, and I knew that this glazing would stick to it. I warned you these mushrooms were quickly becoming an obsession with me that I wanted to make more. And I actually have this piece of wood that is not from that haul from the auction, but actually a thrift store find. So you can find them in thrift stores. And it is quite large. And I really wasn't sure what I was ever going to do with it, if somebody would just buy it as is, or, So I am so happy that these mushrooms came in my thought process to do these on. So when I was working on those, I'm like, oh, I have that big piece of wood. So yes, we are going to do this piece of wood also. And y'all, it really does not matter which way you do it. If you want to twist it before you put it on, if you want to twist it as you're gluing it down. On this one, I ended up twisting the whole strand right off the bat because I had a lot of little surface area and some longer parts to deal with. So now I'm trying to figure out where is the best place to glue this one. Because the way this one is, it was making it rock if I tried to glue it on the bottom. So I'm trying to find a place to tuck it because I want it to be accessible to be able to change out the batteries if need be, or when it need be, actually. And this just is one of those processes that you have to trust. You have to trust that it's going to turn out. Now, when I am putting that hot glue over the stems, it's not smooth. It is bumpy. It has texture, and some people might look at that and go, oh my gosh, I'm not doing it right. You're doing just fine. And then topping them off with the little mushroom heads, covering it up with moss, each process is just making the project better and better as it goes. So I wanted to give this one a little bit more visual. So I actually have 2 different mosses that I used. One is a lighter, more stringy moss, and the other is the one that I used previously. It just is giving it a lot more texture. And there's all those little buggies of the night. So with the ladybugs being my lightning bugs, and I thought, oh my gosh, I then remembered that on the Millot's pages of the new spring release 2023 of IOD, that there are these butterflies and moths. So, can I add a transfer to this? Well, sure I can. So I actually have a piece of cardstock, so that's a little bit thicker paper. Now I wanted it to blend more, so I used the brown cardboard looking one with it. So what this is going to be able to do, yep, you can put transfers right on top of paper. So I'm just going to go ahead and transfer my little moth, butterfly, whichever way you want to look at him, onto the paper. Then I need to cut around, but I'm going to go ahead and just get a little bit more workable of a piece first, and then I'm going to cut right up to where the transfer is. I'm actually just going to do 2 of these, and all I have to do is fold them. That cardstock is thick enough. I'm not going to spray anything on it. I'm not going to seal it in by any means. I don't really feel that it's necessary. So yes, I'm just folding the little butterflies in half. So now I knew where I was going to put the bigger one right off the bat, and then the smaller one, I knew that the bigger one needed to have a friend, so I just kind of had to play around with him just a little bit and just going to attach them with using some hot glue. And because those little pine cones just give it that added dimension, I'm going to go ahead and add a few here and there. Oh my goodness, I told you you can't twist that wire a wrong way, you guys. You don't even have to twist it, bend it. Wow, so super simple. Nope, I did not burn myself at all with the glue gun. The hardest part of the project was probably making the tops or adding them onto a surface to get them to cool to be able to pop them off. But other than that, wow, you don't have to have salvaged wood, driftwood pieces that we found at that auction. You could go out and get a log. It's spring. It is spring. There's lots of pieces of wood just laying around that have fallen out of trees lately, especially here in Michigan. So let me know down in the comments below, have I inspired you to maybe make these? Oh my gosh, just, oh, when I lit them up in the dark, yeah. Yep, love at first sight. Yeah, oh my goodness, y'all. So give me a quick comment down below. Is this a craft that you would try, or do you think I was off my rocker? But I absolutely love them. So thanks again for watching today's video, and as always, if you're part of our YouTube family, thank you so much. And if you are new and you're checking out this channel for the first time, and you like DIYs, you like craft, and you like thrifting, and flipping secondhand finds, give me a like and hit that notification bell. And if you would please be so kind as to hit that subscription button so you know when I've uploaded a new video. And we will see you next time, guys, and you can see what we're up to. Bye!